I got the DMD hooked up on the machine, which is really cool. I did some basic DMD programming here. But you'll see here, all right, I started the game and I'm going to touch some things which will generate some points. But as you might guess, it's really annoying not being able to see the DMD. So this got me out into the garage again. There's a few ways to go about building a backbox. I decided to use my CNC, and I used the dimensions from the Pinscape V2 build guide. That build guide is intended for virtual pinball, but it's based on a WPC 95 wedge style backbox, and I thought it was great. Now I did make a few modifications. The joinery here is different than how the guide recommends, but this is like 95% based on their plans, which I think worked out great. A lot of gluing and sanding and painting later, here is the carcass of the backbox, which I was pretty happy with. I'm still undecided if I want to do graphics on the sides or not. I don't know. I'm kind of debating that. Definitely seeing it in all black, it would look a lot better with graphics on the sides. We'll see when we get there. I think that's a problem for future me. Now, onto the speaker panel. There were a lot of ways that I could go about this, but again, I chose to go with Pinscape. They use these T-nut inserts, and so when I CNC'd this, I CNC'd counter bores for these T-nuts to fit into. The material here is MDF, and it's not particularly strong, and it's not particularly thick either. So this whole speaker panel is maybe around 3/8 of an inch or so thick. So there's not much meat there, and screws aren't going to hold in that well. I thought that this was a really brilliant design using these T-nuts because that gives a machine screw connection that is a lot more solid. So here you can see I'm inserting them. And it's at this point that I learned something unfortunate. When I was doing the CAD work for this speaker panel, I made the foolish mistake of asking AI what the dimensions for the screw holes of the DMD are. You already know where this is going, don't you? It did not tell me the right number. So here you see me assembling this. I had cut it and sanded it and painted it, and I ended up having to redo the entire thing. So in a second here, you'll see that the color changes because I had to make a new one. I placed foam over the area where the DMD goes to give it a little bit of a cushion and to set it off of the panel a bit. Well, anyways, here's the new one. And instead of painting it, ta-da, I just used Sharpie. So I put a little bit on the inner rings and just a tiny bit on the outside because that's all that anybody's going to be able to see. And you know what? It's just fine. Now over top of this, I ordered a piece of thin acrylic from Send Cut Send. So this is clear, and once I peel off that protective sticker, the DMD will show through. Now on top of this, the H channel will fit, and it kind of just snaps over the top and makes this sandwich. There are screws that go in the back here, but I'll put those in later. That's what it looks like. Imagine there's a nice DMD in the middle there. Now, as for the way that this hangs, you can see that there's these hangers here on the outer edges. It just hangs on the pieces that are in the backbox carcass. I designed and 3D printed these speaker rings, and you can see they've got a slot here for LED lights to go in them. There's too many LED lights in that. I'm going to have to go down to lesser density to fit inside of the 32 LED limit for the Neuron. But basically the speakers are just going to bolt right into that. Limitation here, of course, is that inner area. There's no grill. And I decided to 3D print these. I'm debating if this was a good idea or not. I don't know. We'll see. And basically, they just go, they're sandwiched in between the speaker panel and the LED ring. Well, with everything temporarily bolted up, let's take a look. So here's what it looks like. And it's kind of hard to tell now because I've still got the protective sticker on the acrylic. But I think if the acrylic looks good, then that will probably look just fine, especially when it is all lit up. And here's a look at it all together in the backbox. I think it'll look fine. I've been debating it, but I think it'll be all right. With the back box complete, I stripped down all the hardware off of the cabinet and I hauled it back upstairs to begin the finishing touches. There was a handful of small things that the cabinet needed, but most importantly, I needed to complete the shelf on the rear part. So here's just a close-up look. The hardware I temporarily zip-tied out of place. I didn't want to take all the wiring out. I had to extend the area for the plunger, and here's the shelf that the back box will mount to. It's got some clamps, glue's drying. Unfortunately, it started snowing here, so it's going to have to wait a little bit before this gets sanded and painted.